wanted to start with you, Charli, because you were given a call by Emerald asking to write a song. It's so rare to write an entire soundtrack. And I know you wrote this on the Brat Tour, so I'm just wondering, like, your process, sort of how you, what sort of imagery did you have the script, sort of your creative process?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Emerald sent me a text out of the blue. We don't text that much. We didn't text that much.
No,
we text more now.
The first thing that I did was I accidentally called you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what's going on?
And I was like, well, how did this happen? Why did I was trying to send a text and then I just like FaceTime Charli, you know, just like
no, it was all
a woman who
sort of,
didn't know me.
All very British, very like, oh
very
gosh,
awkward.
sorry, you know, but it was very sweet. So I sort of received this text and, you know, Emerald told me that she was making, you know, her interpretation of Wuthering Heights and would I want to do a song? And then immediately sent me the screenplay, which I sort of devoured that same night. And kind of immediately I sort of had an agenda of like, I'm not just doing a song, I'm doing an album, and kind of put it to you. And we kind of went back and forth. And I to be honest, I really just felt so inspired by what Emerald had written. It really felt so alive to me on the page. And I had been living in this complete other world with my album Brat. And I was really craving to swing to something completely the polar opposite. And I felt that this was that. And I immediately felt so immersed within the world that you'd put on the page. And I just couldn't wait to kind of sink my teeth into it. So that's sort of how it all began.
I heard you describe elegant and brutal were like the two words, and not to ask the most cliche question, but if that was a Brat era, how would you sort of describe this album, this entire album, what fans are about to experience?
Well, I think those words, I mean, the elegant and brutal were the words that I was really applying to this album. You know, I'd been listening to a lot of John Cale at the time, and he often uses those two words to describe how he makes strings. And what you wrote, I just thought, this is that. It's that sort of twisted, kind of tormented, passionate, but almost scary at points version of love. And yeah, that was sort of the kind of blueprint that I continued to follow whilst writing it.
And I'm wondering for you, I mean, you create the most beautiful imagery, and receiving, like when you get a song like Chains of Love, what was your process like in the collaboration? When you receive the music, how do you decide what moments you're using it in the film? And because it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, just sort of the way it's married together.
There's a sort of, and it sounds so silly, there's a witchiness that I feel. There's something about Emily Brontë, if she's the kind of like mother, I guess. There's this like connectedness that I feel to the material and to that sort of the elegance and that brutality that you're describing. And I've been just obsessed with Charli since I first heard her first music. I was just fascinated by her. She was so clearly a genius, so clearly singular, and her music has always just been so meaningful to me. And so much so that when I wrote Promising Young Woman, the first song of it is Boys. And it was in the script, and so I kind of, asked if I could use it, and luckily she said yes, and so we kind of met very briefly then, because I just think that there are some people who are just visionary, and you connect to their work very deeply, and I've always felt that with Charli's work. And so then, when it came to this, and we wanted to make a film that was timeless in the same way that the book is timeless, that is singular, that's strange. So it couldn't just be that we had a traditional score. It needed something very emotionally connected. Yeah. And I just felt very strongly that Charli would have a connection to it. So I sent her the script and I said, just like, what do you feel? Like, what do you feel about this? And so I was very lucky that she did connect to it. And then she just started sending me, honestly, just this like transcendently beautiful and emotionally connected music. It's just like you kind of, and then it's just joy. It's just pleasure and joy and surprise. It's like, I would just get these beautiful gifts and I would just listen to them again and again, and then accidentally keep calling Charli as well, because then because they were on WhatsApp, and I'm so old that I was like listening to them in WhatsApp and then accidentally calling her all the time. Like, it was really creepy kind of time for her. But, it's just when you find people that are that kind of are able to sort of respond to something in such a meaningful way. It's wonderful. And then it finds its place. I have this very strong feeling that I cut to silence for the first few cuts of a movie because I know how emotionally impactful music is and I don't want to cheat. And what always happens is, for example, with this movie, Charli would send something and it just fits perfectly. And you haven't cut to it, but you know because you're all operating on the same emotional frequency, and so it's magic. It's magic.
I know that you had described Emerald's films before as delicious specifics, or that's what you love, and I love that phrase. So I'm wondering for each of you, and it might be hard for you to do it with your own film, but is there a delicious specific moment in the film where you felt like the music particularly married beautifully with the visuals, or was there one moment that was your favorite in the film?
For me personally, I get chills with the opening. I really do, and that was something that we were sort of trying to figure out for a little while, and then when you landed on kind of house being a part of this kind of very epic, dark, also sort of moments funny, horny, kind of muddy opening, it just felt, I don't know, it was like the perfect marriage of two things. And when the kids are like running across the moors, it feels really expansive, and you can almost sort of touch it in a way. I don't know if it's very visceral to me, that opening.
It's so and that was such a hard thing to get right for everyone, you know. It's because it sets out the stall for the movie, and it is perverse, you know. It's funny and it's dark.
I love that you're using words like horny and perverse, because this is like
well, you know, but
it's so beautiful.
It is part of why people connect to this book, and so House, like, the thing is, House is so good, and it's so good on so many levels, but it's also a bit of spoken word poetry. So a lot of the conversations that we had were like, because we haven't heard any of the actors speak yet, do people think that this is Heathcliff? You know, so it took us a while to like work out how to like. That's also the joy of stuff as well, and the joy of working with Finn and Charli, is that what happens is you work together to kind of find the way of making that all work, and then when it does, and it's just like dynamite. For me also, it was finding, it was funny mouth. It's finding there was a moment, I don't know, there's just a moment in the movie where the kind of something is, it's good and it's happy and it's safe for a while. And it's interesting, one of the songs, I think Funny Mouth in a way is one of the darker, romantic, darker songs, and actually having that there as a sort of little fatal reminder just transformed the whole thing.
When you both go to the movies, because you're both obviously cinephiles, where do you like to sit and what do you like to snack on?
I'll sit anywhere, and popcorn, to be honest. Not right at the front, though, for me.
Not
I
the
don't want
front
to hurt
row.
my neck. But I'm fine with sides, and I'm all right sitting in the middle and the back. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you sit?
I mean, I want to be bang in the middle, sweet popcorn, and a big Fanta. Like a because calories don't count in the dark.
Yeah, totally.
That's a
She's
fact.
right.
Oh my God, I
That
love
is a
that.
fact.